The Allegiant Stadium, which opened on July the 31st, which is the 213th day of the year in leap years. 2020 was, in fact, a leap year. The fact that July the 31st is the 213th day of the year is super significant for the Raiders opening their new stadium because the Super Bowl this year is going to be played on February the 13th, which is a day of 2-13. So it happens to be very fitting that the stadium was opened on the 213th day of the year. Now, as I've talked about before, Derek Carr is going to win the Super Bowl right after his broken fibula injury. That's what's going to happen. Some 62 months later, he's going to beat the Colts. He's going to get one back. He's going to win the Super Bowl at Inglewood. Broken fibula injury. Talk roll game revenge. The blown out Buccaneers. All this is happening on the 44th day of the year because the amount of time from the day that the stadium began construction to the day that the stadium was opened was a time span of 44 months, and this was pretty close to being 17 days because the Super Bowl is going to be played on the 44th day of the year, and in gematria it is Allen, Bruce Allen, Marcus Allen, Allen Davis that has gematria 44. The source of the email leaks, the MVP of Super Bowl 18, Marcus Allen, and Tina Tintor has gematria of 44, the one who unfortunately passed after the Ruggs incident. But as I've said before, the Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl at Inglewood, California. The skull is gematria of Dynasty, Richard Bisaccia, Inglewood, California, which Dynasty in the skull in Bisaccia is same gematria as Blowout. So we absolutely do know that Brady is going to lose a couple fumbles and throw an interception at the least in the Super Bowl because the league has to make one up for the Raiders for everything that has happened with the talk roll and the Patriots end up being the Dynasty. 193 weeks from construction was when the stadium opened. It is the Raiders. They're going to win a Super Bowl in that stadium over at the stadium of the Los Angeles Rams. The Las Vegas Raiders has same gematria as the Los Angeles Rams. 38 years later, the Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl 3 years and 8 months later and 18 days from its last Super Bowl championship in Super Bowl 18 is when the stadium opens on the 213th day of the year. Again, just win, baby. Colorado, first game without Gruden. Crunky Sports Entertainment Enterprises operate. The organization is from Colorado. Raiders. Derek Carr saying, I'm fed up. The last Super Bowl appearance at San Diego. I'll have gematria of 38. And that's how I make the connection with the Raiders winning the Super Bowl 38 years later. Let's get into the designers and architects of the stadium. Well, first of all, the capacity is 65,000. The Raiders are 6-5 to begin the dynasty now because remember. Philadelphia is gematria 65. Raider Dynasty is gematria of 65. Rather, Raiders Dynasty is gematria of 65. This is the whole significance of the stadium having 65,000 capacity. The amount of time from the first Raiders. This is actually the time span from the day that the stadium opened to the Super Bowl, which gives us a time duration of 18 months and 13 days later. 18 months, if we want to talk about the Raiders' last Super Bowl championship in Super Bowl 18, the fact that it's Vegas, that's gematria of 18, the fact that it's 5 months and 4 days from the start of the season is the day of the Super Bowl. And what else do we have? If it wasn't 13 days, it was 15 or 16 days, it would round up to the 19th month. Well, this is falling on the 19th month since the stadium opened. The stadium cost $1.9 billion. The Tuck game in 2002, 19 years later, is this season, 2021. And the Raiders would make the Super Bowl 19 years later from Super Bowl 37. And the 19th playoff game since Super Bowl 18 is when the Raiders win the Super Bowl with a 10-9 record, playoff record since winning the Super Bowl against the Washington football team, because it is Los Angeles and Paradise, Nevada that have gematria of 109. So 10-9 the Raiders would be right after they win the Super Bowl since the last title against the Washington football team. So where was I at? $1.9 billion the stadium cost. Davis, Mark Davis, Carol Davis, and LA Rams, the host of this year's Super Bowl, has gematria of 19. The Raiders win the Super Bowl over at Inglewood, California, as mentioned before. The stadium is sitting on 62 acres of land. Where is it? Okay, acreage is 62 acres. 62, let's connect to the fact that the Super Bowl opponent is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the fact that the LA Chargers are the other host of this year's Super Bowl championship. 80 weeks later, from July the 31st, is the day of the Super Bowl. What 80 gives us is Los Angeles Chargers having gematria of 80. The amount of time from the day that the stadium opened to the first Raiders game between the Saints and the Raiders is a time span of 53 days later when you include the end day. It is the Raiders that has gematria 53. 1 month and 22 days later, I'm going to the designers and the architects. Architect was Manica Architecture. This is an architecture firm based at Kansas City, Missouri. In gematria, it is, once I scroll up here, Kansas City, Missouri is gematria 74. It is Raiders as gematria 74. The Raiders, the team that hired those people to design the stadium. San Diego, the last Super Bowl appearance. Check out the structural engineer, Arup, the British multinational professional services firm headquartered in London. It's London that also has gematria of Raiders and the other architectural firms from Kansas City, Missouri. Mark Davis's birthday is on May the 18th. The amount of time from May the 18th to the day that the stadium opened is literally 2 months and 13 days, as well as 74 days. Raiders, I'm fed up, Derek Carr says, first Super Bowl since San Diego. Brady's going to be 7-4 in the Super Bowl. He hired people from London and in Kansas City. It all lines up that way. These people are Kabbalists. And there's another group, HNTB. I think they're based in Kansas City. Kansas City, Missouri. I don't know if it's a Kansas City Chiefs thing or the fact that it's Mahomes that's got gematria 74. Not sure why they hired a bunch of people from Kansas, but Arup is gematria 56. It is Vegas Raiders as gematria 56. Vegas Raiders is gematria 128. There is 128 executive suites in the stadium. Notice how at 65,000 football capacity, they have these people that they hired from Vegas. Kansas City is gematria 65. One of the Super Bowl championships occurred against Philadelphia. It is Philadelphia that's got gematria 65. In Raider Dynasty, and the Raiders were 6-5 right after being the Cowboys with this first win since being the Philadelphia Eagles. HNTB Corporation has same gematria as the Los Angeles Chargers. You see that right there. It's going to be another big clue about what is about to happen. I want to see the acronym by itself. HNTB, 44 months later to the Super Bowl, is something to note with the gematria of Allen and Tintor. 1 month and 22 days later, the last Super Bowl championship for the Raiders was on January the 22nd of 1984. This is the whole significance of the stadium opening 1 month and 22 days before they host the first game. Also, they had the architectural firms from Kansas City. Kansas City is gematria 122. And Las Vegas, Nevada also has gematria of 122. Key talking points. People hired from London and Kansas City, same gematria as Raiders. Tom Brady 7-4 in the Super Bowl. Stadium opens on the 213th day of the year. This is in fact a leap year. 2 months and 13 days from Mark Davis's birthday is when the stadium opens. 10 weeks and 4 days, which gives us gematria of Inglewood, California. In case if you were unaware. The stadium opens July 31st. The Raiders were in do or die mode November 25th of 2021. We can also check that out too. 1 year and 3 months later, rounding up. But then let's really get to the birthday of Jim Plunkett. That'll make things a little bit more sense. His 74th birthday. 16 months later, whatever. He wears number 16 too. It's a remarkable birthday that he's got. So, anyway, let's do the season opener for the Super Bowl championship year. This gives us 13 months and 13 days, a lot like the Raiders being 13 and 13 to begin their time in Vegas before they won against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. So just wanted to bring that up too. Allegiant Stadium, Derek Carr's the 36th pick in the draft. Coordinates 36 degrees north. Last Super Bowl championship against the Redskins. Paradise, Nevada is where the stadium is at. Paradise is same gematria as Los Angeles when the Raiders last win the Super Bowl in the next Super Bowl. And also the opponent of this Super Bowl, which is the Buccaneers. Address 3333 Al Davis Way, which is also gematria of Hollywood Park in Inglewood, California. How about just Al Davis Way by itself? Al Davis Way having gematria of 117, I'm trying to figure that out, the 117. Al Davis Way has gematria 36 degrees north. And same gematria as Buccaneer. I think I've summed this up pretty well. I just want to go copy and paste the names. RUP is gematria of Las Vegas. Smith Seckman Reed Incorporated Services Engineer. Smith Seckman Reed Incorporated is gematria of the Super Bowl host of this year, which is Los Angeles, California. I'll post the video about the radii, the Death Star. The Death Star doesn't have anything meaningful for this video. It's just 96 and 33. Icon Venue Group is gematria of 185 and 77, as I've speculated before, that the 77th win for the Raiders since Al Davis's death would occur against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Or just the revelation the seven-headed beast loses against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's the whole book of Revelation angle with the gematria of whatever I just entered, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Whatever I just copied and pasted over. That has the 7 in there. Or just, I need to get rid of the incorporated, I think is what I did. I get rid of incorporated. Well, without incorporated, it's 185 and 77. Incorporated, 211 and 94. I know from my study that I think it's Arrowhead that's got gematria 94. Maybe not. And anyway, ignore that. Manica Architecture. Last one. Manica Architecture's Gematria are 72 and 82. Does the NFL want to put the Chiefs in the playoffs here because of the fact that Kansas firms have designed the stadium? They're getting people in Kansas out there to travel to Vegas. Manica Architecture has Gematria of Al Davis's death age of 82. Also, Jim Plunkett was 8-2 in the postseason.